Hi, in this video, it's the second vague concepts video I want to make, and I want to cover two different words, art and love. So I guess we'll tackle love first. So in the concept of love, it's a very vague concept, obviously, as I've listed in this vague concepts video. It's obviously associated with something along the lines of some ethereal feeling of untangible ethereal feeling that you can't quite put your fingers on. This sense of emotional attachment and lust. There's different kinds of love, or things that we mask up as love, I guess. So what are we saying when we love someone? I guess it depends on the situation and the person. When you say you want to have sex with someone, you find them attractive, someone of the same or opposite sex you might want to fornicate with. I guess you have lust, and in a way, we misuse the word love and apply it to our lust, or whatever we're having in that day, right? So if we're feeling a little horny, then we might love more people or use that word inappropriately more often than not. So when you love someone, why don't you go satisfy yourself over in the bathroom real quick, then come out and see how much you love someone then. Because it's all a matter of the satisfaction in the end, and that's all we're doing. So there's this idea of emotional attachment when we love someone. So we obviously, the more we're around someone, the more we can relate to someone, the more we feel sorry for someone, the more we're likely to find that we have an attachment for that person. And I think pity and feeling sorry for someone is obviously something that I think that can obviously strengthen your bonds. It can help create a situation, you know, how you feel sorry for someone because they failed at something they wanted to succeed in, or you belittle them in some way, or they feel sorry for themselves and you look and you pity them. You wanna feel something for them. And I think that is a way of strengthening this concept of love that we have. And it doesn't do anything but fool us into using this word in the most inappropriate ways, if that's what I mean to say. So yes, you can find that you are more affectionate, that you care more, that you're more compassionate, that you're more empathetic, you're sympathetic, you're more sympathetic, you care more, you put a more emotion into a response when you feel sorry for someone. And I think that can strengthen how much we care for someone, this attachment we have to someone, obviously through time, how much time you spend with them, how much you find that you have in common with this person. So yeah, so this love thing, it depends. It's a word, it's vaguely used, it's more of a word that's mischaracterized and misused more often than not, and that's probably why the word is confused so much. So I would say it's mostly because of the confusion of the word, the ubiquitous nature of the word, because it's used in so many ways. There's plenty of words that are used in so many ways. I just can't think of any off the top of my head right now. I had one, but it's sort of gone now. So yeah, the concept of love can be compassionate. You can apply all sorts of more precise words when you're describing this love to someone, or you can just forget the whole word of love and decide to not necessarily just apply these concepts that are involved with it and completely ignore the word to begin with. You're compassionate. Sometimes you feel sorry for someone and you come back and say, I love you, I love you, I love you. I feel so sorry for you, but I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm sorry, 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 sorry. Or something like that. All these misappropriations of the word. And there's lust, how you feel for someone, and how that can confuse you and make you think you love them when you really don't love them. It's more like, oh, I have a libido right now, and I need to satisfy my libido. Otherwise, I think I'm going to love you for a long time. So I think love is derived out of lust, all sorts of circumstances, lust, compassion, care, emotional attachment, such as being around a person, relating to someone. All these words can be applied to the word love, but they have even more precise words that you can apply to love to begin with, like the words I've just used. So you have more of an emotional attachment to someone, say like your parents. You look up to them, you revere them, you love them, if something bad happens to them, it almost strengthens your ties. It makes you realize just why you love them, and almost in a way confuses you, especially when I go back to the feeling sorry thing. When you feel sorry for someone, you almost feel a need to compensate for that person's misgivings, especially when you know that the person necessarily, even if they are a bad person, but if they aren't, that not necessarily something that the person you should care about, even if it's a person that you don't necessarily know. But it's even stronger if you have any one of these emotional attachments beforehand. And I'd say even, I guess, jealousy and things can get in the way of love. I would say the more jealous you are of a person, the more likely you're probably not going to find that you love them in a certain way. You more envy them. Because jealousy can obviously get in the way of someone loving them, especially when it's an outsider, a stranger, because that means that the person's going to be more jealous of you than thinking about having emotional attachment to you. These are things I've recognized, and it's confusing. It confuses what you really think, because you never know, and your emotions might change, and your concept might change, your position in understanding these things, and who you may think you love or not love. So I think that's all I'm going to do with love in this video. I think I have more. I might have confused the topic a little bit, but I'm going to go on to something else, and it's art. That's the other word I mentioned, and I think art is a confusing word too. What is art? Is this art? I know it's been going around a lot. I've heard it in passing. What's art? This is art. That is art. Something else is art. This is art. That's, I don't know what's art. Something up in the wall is art. This is art. This mud painting's an art. This foot in the mud pedal's art. Well, I don't think any of those things are art unless it has intention. I think that's the word that you have to apply with art, I think. You have to have intention. That's the first qualifying thing with art. It has to have some sort of creative intention when you're applying it to something. Otherwise, you can't just call a fingerprint art. I think it has to be something created with intention, but also created with some sort of talent of artistic ability, like you draw something, or you draw something in the mud with your fingers, or you do something in particular, but with an intention to make something that you find, that you want to, I guess, portray as some sort of creative quality, if that's of any way of describing it. I think the intention is the most important word with art, because it's something that you have to have any sort of qualification for the word to begin with. You can't just call it tree art. Is everything art? It starts getting vague then. If you want to just apply it to everything, you can go right ahead and call everything art, but the word means nothing then. Unless you have qualifying statements to what is art, and then if you do that, then obviously not everything is art, unless you just say reality is art. So I would say, if you want to be more precise with the word art, it has to be something that was created with intention to be artistic, be creative, or something like that. I think that's the way I want to describe it, I think. But I would say that the word intention is the most important aspect of this, the qualification for something that has to be art, and it has to have some sort of quality that goes along with that intention to make it worth art, some sort of creative quality. If you're copying someone else's art, you could still call it art, but you can qualify it as something else. Copy art, copying someone else's art. But I say that the intention is obviously the most important thing. You have to have intention. You can't just be intentional, intellectual, intentionalness. Sort of, it has to come from your neurology. It can't just come, well, my foot intentionally walked into the foot pedal. It has to be something that has a recognition of what's going on. So I would say yes, it has to come from your brain, and art can't just come from anything. It's not a work of art just because it exists in nature. I wouldn't think. I don't know. I guess this is probably one of the most vague ones because it's hard to describe, but I would say that one word you can put to it is intention. It has to come from some kind of intentional place that has some sort of moving quality that controls something like our brain. I guess that would be a very technical and clinical definition of art. So I guess that would be a good definition, at least for right now. I'm trying to describe it as best as you can. And I think I might revisit art if I think this through anymore because I didn't think this through. I just decided to make another video. So yeah, that's all I think I'm going to mention, and if I have anything else to add, I'll make another video on the subject. So until the next time, and thank you and goodbye.